This is absolutely huge. David Raya is joining Arsenal for £30 million. It's been agreed. It's happening. This is absolutely huge in the Premier League title race. I think it has huge repercussions for where Arsenal finish this season and for even in the long term. David Raya is such a young keeper. It's a contract that could go on till 2028. He's the future of Arsenal in goal. Mark my words. In this video, we'll talk about Arsenal moving forward into next season with Raya in goal and where it leaves them in the Premier League title race. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Would really appreciate it. This is absolutely huge. My big gripe with Arsenal last season, whatever you say about them, they were fantastic in midfield. Partey, Odegaard, up front, they scored bags of goals, bags of energy. And obviously defensively, Saliba, elite. But there were gaps in concentration from Ramsdale. There's no question about it. I think Ramsdale's a good keeper. I think Arsenal fans that have been slagging me off for saying that I don't back him as much. It's because I don't think he's David Seaman. I don't think he's Jens Lehmann. These Arsenal keepers, some of the greats, even Peter Cech. I don't think he's anywhere near that. I think he's a solid top 10 keeper. I think I could see him at Brentford. I could see Raya at Arsenal. Raya is unbelievable. I've never seen him make a mistake. I think he's great with his feet. He's obviously young. He's got the ceiling to be world class. And I look at it, it's just my gut instincts as a football fan. I think Ramsdale is a couple of mistakes away from being closer to Joe Hart than he is to Alisson. I think David Raya could actually be closer to Alisson than Ramsdale. I think he's punching towards that world-class bracket. He's not there yet, of course. And Brentford are a side that obviously get a few shots at them. They're not the best side in the world. They're always sort of in and around mid-table. They're an open side. They concede a few goals every now and then. But David Raya never feels culpable. He never feels like he makes big mistakes. And the big thing is, he's as good with his feet as Ramsdale, in my opinion. I think he's very, very good with his feet. Very nimble with the ball. He can spray it long if he needs to. Ramsdale, obviously, is a massive selling point for Arsenal last season. Arsenal fans absolutely loved him. People called him the best keeper in the league last season. Fine. With his feet, he was right up there. His distribution is fantastic. His throwing ability is elite. When push came to shove, when Arsenal needed a spine, they needed Schmeichel and Rio Ferdinand, or Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, Terry with Cech. They didn't have that with Ramsdale. Saliba got injured. Suddenly it was and Ramsdale making mistakes, flapping at things. I remember a couple of games he flapped at something at Newcastle at home. He flapped at something at Brighton. Southampton as well. He made a mistake. They scored early in that game. And sometimes it's all well and good being a progressive keeper. It's all well and good us thinking about Football Manager and the future of football. Sometimes you just need a keeper to stay in between the posts and make world-class saves. And I think Ramsdale at points struggled with that. That's just the reality. There's a couple of times he got caught out near post. And the margins we're seeing in the Premier League, they're so tight. Liverpool got 97 points and came second in a league within the last 5-6 years. And Arsenal could end up, if they hadn't have signed Raya, ended up next season with an incredible midfield in Declan Rice. We'll talk about all these other signings in a minute in terms of how Raya makes up, which is a very expensive summer for Arsenal, whatever you say about the signing. Rice in midfield, Timber at the back. These are fantastic deals. Havertz, whatever you say about him, he's talented. Whether he fits or not, I think there's a big question mark about that. No question about it. But I think Raya comes in and actually complements all of them. He makes, at the very least, even if you're sat at home watching, you're the most Ramsdale proponent fan in the world. Fair enough. That's your opinion. He even makes Ramsdale's position harder for him, therefore making competition in the squad even better at Arsenal. And that is so important. You know, look at Ortega and Ederson at Man City. We've seen these big clubs now, Kudicini and Cech. I think about it a few years ago, or decades ago now. The big clubs always have a couple of keepers pushing and trying to be number one, and it makes both of them better. So whatever you say about Raya or Ramsdale, who should be starting for Arsenal first game of the season, for me it's Raya. We'll talk about more about that in a minute. But he'll at least, at the very minimum, make Ramsdale a better keeper. He has a lot of quality, Ramsdale, but I think the gaps in his game, I don't think he can erase them. I think they're too big, they're too wide at this point in his career. I don't think he'll ever become a world-class keeper. I think Raya absolutely will. Again, Raya, for 30 million quid, I like the fact that he wanted to join Arsenal. I like the fact that Timber wanted to join Arsenal. Declan Rice wanted to join Arsenal. Havertz didn't mind leaving Chelsea and going across the road to Arsenal. It says a lot about the project that Arteta is building, They've just won the Community Shield. Whether you think that's a big achievement or not, I doubt it. That is one small marker that they've got a foot up over Man City on some level with their new squad. And I think Raya comes in and makes that goalkeeping department so secure. Because if Ramsdale has a shocker, you've got Raya to come in, and he'll be desperate to take over the place at Arsenal. That is just the reality. Arsenal next season will be a major force. However you look at it, Arteta's spent close to 600 million quid in the last 3 or 4 years. He spent 300 million quid across 2 summer transfer windows before this one. Now he's going on to, Timber 30 million, Declan Rice 100 million pounds, Havertz 60 million pounds, 30 million pounds on a new keeper. It really stinks of the time when City came third, Pep Guardiola's first season. Arteta was kicking about that point as well at City as an assistant coach. And he would have seen Kyle Walker come in, Bernardo Silva come in. He would have seen John Stones have an extra year as a young centre-back. The big one, if you're a City fan, you'll surely remember. Bravo was a big, expensive keeper. He came in from Barcelona. Big sort of credit in the bank because of that. He was absolutely shocking. Now, of course, I'm not saying Ramsdale's anywhere near Bravo, but Bravo wasn't quite right for Man City. That's just the reality. I don't think Ramsdale is either. And guess who comes in? Edison, who absolutely fit the bill for £35 million, a similar kind of fee. I like the fee that Arsenal paying, £30 million, £25 million up front. It's very cheap in today's market. For the age category that Raya has, the physicality, such a big keeper. He'll be so much more dominating in the box, commanding in the box. When Arsenal are up against it, which I don't think they will be much this season, because I think they'll be winning a lot of football matches this season. When they are up against it in games in the final 10 minutes, I'd rather have Raya in goal than Aaron Ramsdale all day long and a month on Sunday, if that's the saying. In midfield, I've talked about kind of the defence. I think Timber is unbelievable. He was fantastic in the Community Shield. Him and Saliba, you got Tomiyasu, Ben White can play centre-half, Zinchenko. There's so many options there. So the competition in the goalkeeping department and then the defensive department is unbelievable. And then Declan Rice, I mean, I looked at him in the Community Shield. I thought his physicality was just like Patrick Vieira. His stride length was just incredible, how he was able to cover ground. I've not honestly seen it since Patrick Vieira. I know it's a bit of a stereotype, I know it's a bit of a trope at this point, but Partey's a different kind of midfielder, covers a little bit less ground. Declan Rice is an athlete. He's a bit of a greyhound. He covers so much ground. I think Arsenal are going to be a completely revolutionised side with him in the side. If Jesus can come back fully fit, Martinelli can only improve in my opinion. Saka can definitely improve. I think Arsenal next season will be a major force. I already did my predictions. They'll be coming out later in the week. My transfer of the window already was Timber. I think it's such a good deal. He's such an Arsenal player, such a good sign in terms of the money they've spent on him, in terms of how he can play on the ball, how mobile he is. He's such an Arsenal player. And then you see David Raya come in. He wanted to join Arsenal. He didn't want to join Spurs for obvious reasons. And it looks like Arsenal have got their man for such a good amount of money. This is unbelievable value. Very positive, what can I say? Nervous as a City fan, but I think Arsenal will do the business next season. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you soon.